Hey, it's Michelle. So this video has sort of been requested. Since I joined the Sizzling Summer Weight Loss Challenge, a lot of folks have been asking me how I lost the 90 pounds, and I'm sort of edging towards my 100-pound goal. So I want to make this video to sort of answer those questions and hopefully add to all the information that is happening on our Facebook page. So before I start, I guess I'm going to start now. Usually people say this at the end of the video, like as a consolation, but I want to move this bit of advice to the front of the video just so that you hear it loud and clear. Go easy on yourself during this process. Give yourself grace. Whatever level of frustration or anger or shame or disappointment you might feel about putting on the weight or being in poor health or whatever the situation is, this is not the time to beat yourself up about it. There's nothing you can do about what has happened in the past. You can't unring the bell, as they say. You can't take back the gallon of ice cream you ate. All you can do is move forward and make some new awesome choices, right? So give yourself grace around this process in the beginning and the whole duration of it. The flip side of that is tell yourself the truth. Now, you can't walk around saying, I don't know why I'm 50 pounds overweight and I only eat salads, if that's not true. Because if that is true, then you need to get yourself to a doctor and figure out what's going on. There has to be a medical situation happening. So give yourself grace, but tell yourself the truth. The second thing I want to say before I start, again, is there are no quick fixes. If you clicked on this video because you thought I was going to tell you I ate 10 grapes or 1 bowl of rice or bread only on Tuesdays, you probably can stop now, because that didn't happen at all. Any quick fixes that you launch into, and you've heard this before, guarantee the weight is going to come back on, because the quick fixes don't teach you how to eat and move in a way that matches the lifestyle you have. It only says that you have the capacity to deny yourself something for this period of time. So there are no quick fixes. If you have tons of weight to lose, it's going to be a slow, steady pace towards that change. Last thing, don't compare yourself to somebody else or somebody else's process. I know a lot of us are on the Facebook page for the Slim Down because Diva Slims Down is the one who sort of brought us all together. And she lost over 150, I think 160 pounds in just a year, like a little before a year. And I think the reason we're all fascinated with that process, because we recognize that is ridiculously awesome, and that most people don't experience that level of success when they start to lose weight. So whatever her motivation was, whatever her process was, whatever her body type is, her metabolism, her age, I don't know, the freaking city she lives in, I have no idea. Know that that's a unique situation, and not that other people don't lose 150 pounds, but chances are not everybody who comes to the Slim Down is going to be able to pull that off. So don't compare yourself to somebody else's process. Know that you are unique, and whatever's supposed to happen with your body will happen with your body. So I got all those little sort of disclaimers out of the way. I think if I had to give any level of advice around experiencing long-term, successful, consistent weight loss, is to get organized. And for me, what organization looked like was I put a binder together. I put this binder together. And the binder I have, it's here with me all the time, houses books, ebooks I'm reading, my food list, my shopping list, articles that I'm reading in general, motivational sayings or pictures, websites that I've visited or need to visit, books that I'm reading. This binder really helps to remind me that I am in a process, and just kind of keeps my work organized. Other ways that you can organize yourself as you start this process is take a before picture. A lot of times as we go through the process, we forget what we look like at the beginning, and we're assuming that no change is happening. And, you know, I guarantee you, seeing your before picture will tell you that you're somewhere different, right? What else? Take measurements. Of course, I know everybody's going to weigh themselves, but take measurements are equal as important. Now, I didn't take measurements in the very, very beginning of my process just because I didn't know to do it. But since I've been doing measurements, and especially since I've signed up with Stacy, my personal trainer, I can really see how my body's changing and shifting even when the weight per se is not coming off. This is also a time to, I think, and there's always disagreement around this, to announce that you are in this process. I don't think it's really useful or helpful to hide it because everybody can see that you're overweight. There's nothing to be ashamed of, and I think you should just announce, like, I'm going to be doing this. I love your support. If not, I'm still going to be doing this. So nobody's sort of caught off guard when you're not at the family Sunday dinner getting double helpings of grandma's famous macaroni and cheese. Write as many things down as you can. Within the organization of it, planning is essential. Plan when your workouts, what days you're going to work out, what time you're going to work out. Plan what you're going to do at the gym. And I know that might feel extra, but walking into the gym, I know what I'm going to be working on. I'm not sort of figuring it out as I get to the gym. In my kitchen, I also record my workouts so that, again, as many reminders as you can have around your house that you're doing something, that you're in a process, is helpful. So this is what my calendar looks like. And I can look at it just like head on and see how many days I've missed or what kind of workouts I've been doing. And, you know, I might need to switch something up, and all that recorded information is there. So record as much as you can. Now, I'm not a fan of food logs. You should definitely do them. But when I figured out what to do sort of in the second half of the transformation project I was going through, I started just taking pictures of my food. And I post them on Facebook. I share them with my friends. But also I can look at all my mobile uploads and say, okay, that's what you had. You like that. You didn't like that. You haven't had that in a while. So, you know, tweak it as you need to. If there's a particular thing you don't like doing, but you found a different way of doing it, get on it and figure that out for yourself. Another part of being organized is anticipating events. One of the things that sort of derails us when we're trying to get healthy and lose the weight, especially in the beginning, is all the sort of obligations that are in our lives. Weddings, anniversaries. Knowing these events ahead of time gives you time to plan for what you're going to do in the face of grandma's famous macaroni and cheese, right? For me, this week, I know on Saturday I'm going to a social event. A social event that I know is going to involve lunch at some restaurant at some point. And so I'm trying to tweak my workouts and my sleep and my water accordingly to Saturday being social with my friends. But I'm also going online and looking at that restaurant's menu to see what I can possibly order that I don't feel deprived, but I also have given it full thought of what the heck I'm going to eat while I'm out there. So, you know, try to plan for events. We're not as held hostage to surprises in our lives as we think we are or we say we are. The next big chunk of advice, I guess, is to do your research. I think Ruthie said this in one of her videos recently. When you start losing weight, suddenly everybody becomes a doctor in a nutrition. Everybody wants to tell you how to lose the weight. Now, they can tell you what to do when you have 50 chicken wings in your hand, but the moment you want to change something about yourself, everybody's there. So have your own information, right? Because you've already gone to the doctors and they've told you what kind of condition you're in. You're starting to read articles. You're going to websites, getting recipes. You're reading books from the library or buying books that are interesting to you. You're talking to other people like we are on Facebook and swapping information. So the more information that you're armed with that you collected on your own, the less susceptible you are to auntie, best friend, the bus driver giving you advice about how to lose 100 pounds. And not to completely wholesale disregard their advice, but you'll be more focused when you've done your own research, right? Because remember, the whole time you're building a process that is unique to you, right? Everything about what you're choosing to do for yourself, everything you're choosing to do for yourself is unique to you. Another chunk of advice is to set mini goals. Whether there's a dress you want to fit into, whether there's an event you want to go to and be 10 pounds lighter, whether there's a set of stairs at work that you want to get up to without feeling winded. One of my goals, once I saw that I was going to really start losing this weight, was that I wanted a breast reduction. But the insurance company wouldn't pay for it until I showed good faith that the reason my breasts were big wasn't because of my weight. So I lost 75 pounds. But, you know, this is one of those goals I had in front of me that said if I wanted somebody to pay for this, you know, this surgery that I really needed because my back was killing me, I needed to lose 75 pounds. So if I felt discouraged, if I felt like I wanted to quit, I kept that goal in front of me. So, you know, pick goals for yourself that is relevant for you, that you feel like you'd be motivated by and work for. Make adjustments as you need to, right? And that goes back to being organized. Because you'll have all this information about yourself and all your food logs or pictures of your food or articles you've read, if something's not working, you don't have to scratch the whole thing and start over. You can go back in your notes and be like, okay, what was going on here? Or you look at your calendar and say, oh wait, I haven't been working out. I've only been working out 3 days a week. For whatever reason, I thought I was working out 5 days a week, right? So go back, make adjustments if things are not working. And acknowledge them. You know, again, going back to being truthful with yourself. Acknowledge where things are going not as scheduled and take the initiative to make adjustments. I think the last thing is to acknowledge your achievements, you know? And I think having that before picture when you're 6 months into the game and you feel like you haven't really made any significant, you know, changes, find that before picture and then take yourself a now picture. So this is what I have. Here's my before and now picture. Right? I've lost 90 pounds and I still really couldn't see. I still was being overcritical of myself and saying, but look at and how come, and the roll around my middle. And then when I put those two pictures side by side, the change is astounding, it's staggering. So, you know, acknowledge that you're making an effort, acknowledge the changes happening, put things in place so you can see the changes happening, and then celebrate those achievements, right? A lot of people ask me, how do I maintain my motivation around this process? I think you need motivation probably the first 3 months you're doing this. Like you're motivated, you're excited about it, your body hurts, you're losing some weight that you hadn't been able to release in a while. But at some point, habits have to kick in, right? Motivation is not going to be enough to carry you through a 12-month, 18-month, 2-year, 3-year process of losing the weight you want to lose, right? At some point, motivation turns to habit. And the reason we build habits is because we have consistency in our lives. We are organized in our lives. There are reminders around us that what we're trying to do. There are safe people that we can talk to that helps us when we're in crisis, right? So motivation has to, at some point, turn into a habit for it to be long-lasting. Because at some point, you're going to, you know, the motivation is going to peter out and you're going to find yourself back on the couch eating Doritos. I hope this was helpful and let me know. I'm going to do a part 2 about the food situation because, you know, 80% of it all in the end is about food. So I'm going to do a part 2 and sort of talk about that. And I'll talk to you guys later.